Jerusalem, 33 AD. A battered figure is being dragged through a chaotic crowd toward the execution grounds of Golgotha. For most of history, the story ends here, with Jesus of Nazareth executed by the Roman Empire, nailed to a wooden cross until he died. But the Quran presents a sharp departure from that history. It claims that Jesus, Hazrat Isa, was never on that cross. The entire event was a divine deception. This detail changes everything. It reframes the crucifixion from a tragic martyrdom into a moment where the Creator outmaneuvered the greatest political power on earth. To understand why this was necessary, we must look at Roman Judea. The Bani Israel were living under a crushing occupation. The empire's control was absolute, reinforced by the harsh figures on their currency. The local population had lost all autonomy. The stakes were clear. Hazrat Yahya, John the Baptist, had recently been murdered for speaking out against the corrupt elite, proving that for any true prophet, the penalty for truth was death. It was in this dangerous climate that Mary, conceived and gave birth to Jesus through a miracle that required no human father. When the community questioned her purity, it was the infant himself who spoke from the cradle to defend her, identifying himself as a servant and prophet of God. Jesus was born as a direct challenge to the existing order, defying the laws of nature and the political powers of his time. Jesus traveled from village to village, preaching a message of compassion and strict monotheism. He bypassed the official religious institutions, speaking directly to the common people. He demonstrated his authority through miracles, healing the blind, raising the dead, and molding clay into birds that took breath and flew away. These acts drew massive crowds, which terrified the religious leaders. Their social control and their wealth relied on the status quo, and Jesus was rapidly dismantling it. Because they couldn't stop his influence, they went to the Roman governor with a political lie. They accused Jesus of plotting a rebellion and declaring himself a king, a charge the Romans would have to act on. In a system built on total subjugation, a leader who wins the hearts of the people without imperial permission is a threat the state cannot tolerate. The tension pieced on a final night in a hidden room. Jesus gathered his companions, fully aware that the trap was about to spring. He told his followers that he would be betrayed by one of them, and he spoke of a future messenger who would follow him, named Ahmad. While the room was filled with shock, Yehuda, Judas, slipped away. He went directly to the soldiers, trading the location of his teacher for a small amount of money. Within the hour, Roman soldiers arrived to breach the safe house. But as the soldiers moved to arrest him, Islamic tradition says that Allah intervened. Jesus was raised alive into the heavens, extracted from the city before the soldiers could touch him. The Romans were operating with swords in politics, but they were countered by a divine act that operated on a plane they didn't even know existed. When the soldiers entered the room, they seized a man they believed was Jesus. They dragged him before the crowds and carried out the execution. Islamic scholars highlight two accounts of who that man was. The first suggests that the traitor, Judas, was miraculously made to look exactly like Jesus, suffering the very fate he had planned for his teacher. The second account describes a loyal companion who volunteered to take Jesus' place, accepting the substitution to ensure the prophet's safety. This substitution allowed the Roman and religious authorities to believe they had succeeded, while the messenger they targeted remained completely safe. This event demonstrates an essential Islamic principle, that Allah does not allow his chosen messengers to be defeated or humiliated by corrupt men. It also serves as a lesson for the present. Standing up for truth often invites persecution from those in power, but the narrative shows that divine justice always has the final word. The story of Jesus is still unfolding. Islamic prophecy states he will return to earth to defeat the Dajjal in the end times. The events at Golgotha were a pause in a much larger narrative. To see what kind of world Jesus will return to and the ancient forces he will face, watch our video on the mystery of Ya'juj and Ma'juj.